Good morning, everyone. Welcome inside the Faith Loop. It is Wednesday, October, double deuces.
Yep.
I don't know where 2025 went.
Well, I don't either.
But you know what, Dad? We've talked about this. I'm a firm believer in this. I've told people time doesn't exist. It's just a day. Time is a construct because man decays, and we are marking the days till we die. And that's a morbid thought process.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think it's interesting because I don't think about it anymore. I mean, that's not the subject, but just saying that just pops in my head. Yeah, I can't help it.
Here's something I think about every once in a
Oh,
while.
there you go.
On Judgment Day, how long is that going to take? How many billions
Wait a
of
minute.
people?
You know how long it's going to take? A day.
Yeah, because it'll just stay a day. But in our time, we couldn't have done it in the 6,000 years we've been.
Think about that, because we say Judgment Day. What's that? In the day that you eat of it.
Yeah.
Jehovah never speaks of time. He only speaks of the day,
Yeah.
the moment, the conduct of a person, your attitudes, those types of things. And well, he talked about the future. No, not really. He's always talked about, even when he said to Abraham. Now, there's relative terms to our marking of years, but that's changed. As we say, it's October, it's 2025. Well, that's the Gregorian calendar. There's also the Julian calendar that's still used in certain places in the world. There's also the Hebrew calendar,
Right.
or Arabic, Chinese, all with slightly different time frames. So, do we really know? No. And it doesn't matter? No, not really, not in that sense.
No.
But Jehovah even said they would be in bondage for 400 years, But that was more about their attitude, and that was what was important to Jehovah. And it was a matter of, at this point, I'll go get them. This is what it's going to be. But there are very few places in the narratives that I've ever seen that's like that.
Not many.
Right?
Only in the sense of lifespans, the
Generations,
the
right?
generations, and they live so many years, and they live so many years, and so forth. It's about all,
Yeah,
But it's the way we mark time.
Right.
It's not the way he does it, because it's no time with him.
It's the way we mark what we call life.
Yeah.
And, death is just another part of life. That's a lie. Death has nothing to do with life.
No.
Stop it. So, if we just enjoy the day and let it be that.
That's what I do.
And so I don't, the only thing, sometimes I'd like it to last a little longer so I can get more done.
Yeah.
That's about it.
Yeah.
But, that's what it is, right?
Yeah.
And in the constructs that we've created. But I just look at the day. It's a beautiful day. But the problem is we have a crisis of identity that's now lasted 2,112,267.
Yep.
That's days that we've counted. Gave it an approximation. Would you say it was 5786 in the Hebrew calendar, Drew? Because Rosh Hashanah just turned over. They just turned over a new one.
Yep.
And so all the different things, that we see within the world and whatnot, how do we filter through this? And all the things that we talk about, all the things that we see going on in the world, Dad, this is something that I believe, goes on. There's that scripture we said about it yesterday or last week. Paul was writing or talking in the Areopagus. Mm-hmm. And he said he winked at it once. Never again. And that is ignorance. We have created this idea that ignorance, if you're an ignorant person, it's just, I have no knowledge of that.
Yeah.
Dumb. Like the senator over there saying, I have no recollection of that incident, Senator.
Well,
like,
here, we got you on film doing it.
Like Ronald Reagan ignoring the fact that we're selling arms or selling cocaine for arms.
Right.
I just came aware of this yesterday. I get 2 words for that. Right. Couldn't help myself. I'm just done with having sunshine blown, in the posterior part of my anatomy. I'm sorry, I can't help it, man. I'm just tired of it. Watching these people and the terrible thing is, Dad, is this is what ignorance really is.
Yeah.
We just ignore all this stuff. Well, they must know, they must know. Yeah. And we go on. Ignorance is not what we think it is, folks. And we discussed this, ignoring idolatry last week. And what brought me to this, I hadn't done it in a while because I don't just sit and go look. But I went and drummed up the latest from our national media in the Christian world. And I look through these things and I think, my goodness.
Yeah, what's really going on?
Right?
Yeah. Yeah. It's funny how, if it's something that's real important to us personally, we won't ignore it. Like our health. Something goes wrong, man, we're at the doctor. We're calling. We're in the emergency room. We ain't going to ignore this.
Give me something. Yeah,
because they tell you if you ignore that, it's going to kill you. So, but anything that doesn't threaten us,
or we perceive to threaten us,
or we're trying to hide something so people don't perceive.
Agreed.
Yep. We ignore.
Yeah.
And as Brian said, it's ignorance. That's what ignorance means, to ignore something. What are they ignoring right now? All over the world. They just ignore. And then somebody says, well, you said this. No, I didn't. You did this. No, I didn't. Well, we got you on film. No, I didn't. I don't care. That's a false film. You somehow you did that.
It's a deep fake.
Right. Yeah. That's AI, man. You put me there and I wasn't there. And, and they just ignore everything, lie, cheat, steal, and then stand up in a podium and, for instance, it's all over the media right now that Trump is destroying the White House.
I know.
And he's spending all of taxpayers' money on this. It's a well-known fact that it's all from Trump and donations from corporations and things like that. It's all paid for. All the money's there. And not one dime of tax money is spent on that. He's not going to tear down the White House. He's just going to add a ballroom to it.
I know. I can't believe that. It's shameful. He's taking a wrecking ball to the White House. Well, you have to take down to build that up. I'm not quite sure. Have you not seen other reclamation projects in the White House over the years? I'm not quite sure.
Well, every time a new one moves in, they change everything.
Well, and then it cracked me up because then I heard this conservative pundit what are we complaining about? It's free. I'm like, no, it's not, you moron. Somebody's paying for it.
Somebody
Don't use
paid
the
for it.
term. It's not free. They're just not using taxpayer money. So
Right.
that doesn't mean it's free. It's just stupid. Well, I shouldn't say, I'm sorry, I'm not going to use that terminology. To me, that is a gross,
Misstatement.
yes, and you did it on purpose, knowing what you just said. So this is what I mean. People go, well, those Democrats, they just lie. And so does both sides. Because that is just, that's a lie. It's not free. If something was free, then there would be no cost at all to it.
Period.
It would just be there. Nobody would have to pay anything. That's free.
Yeah, it's like go take a dipper, dip it in a lake, and drink the water. That's free. But if it comes through them pipes, it ain't free. Water's free. Water don't cost nothing.
No,
but
no.
the pipes cost money.
That's right.
And if you want it to come out of that faucet, you're going to have to pay for it. And
But we don't talk about
the
that.
exit of that water is the same way. You pay for that too.
Exactly,
Yeah.
man. I mean, I don't know. Color me silly. These are things that I think about.
Yeah, there are very few things in the world that are free, actually.
I just am like, that's not a righteous statement.
No, it is not.
Don't do that.
No.
It's wrong. Upsets me. But people will ignore the truth because right after he said Trump's paying for it and this and that, I'm like, well, it's free to you. No, it's not. It's not free. I'm just not the one paying for it.
Right.
I may never use it. So
I won't ever be invited.
You know, what cracks me up is, and what is that to me anyway? Oh, the big, beautiful ballroom. It's fantastic. We're going to have it. Everybody, oh my gosh. I could care less. I think you ought to take the money and do something better with it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the most ridiculous thing I've heard. We got to build a ballroom for the White House.
Yep.
For what purpose?
So we can all
What
sit
is
in
it
there.
helping anybody? Dear Jesus, man. We got our heads so far.
Well,
Oh, my
But all the other
goodness.
countries have these big, beautiful ballrooms.
Oh,
see? So
Dad.
it's kind of like, what they did in the ancient days with idols. Whoever had the greatest temple had the greatest God. Mm-hmm. That's what they believed. Mm-hmm. And this is what Solomon had in his mind, and David a little bit, when they sought to and what Jehovah say to him? Have I ever asked you to build me a house?
Can't recollect.
No.
I've been in the tent for a while. It's
Yeah.
all right.
What do I need a house on the earth for?
Oh, I'm telling you, man. I'm looking at these things, folks. I'm just more convinced that we simply ignore the truth for our own purposes.
Yep.
And that's all it can be, Dad. That's all it is. It's evident. Because ignorance is not just simply saying, oh, I didn't know. That's the excuse. And we've changed this so that we can make the excuse. Well, I didn't know. I was ignorant of that. No. If you didn't know what was happening, you knew something was going on and you chose to ignore it because I don't want to get in trouble. I'm not. And you can't do that standing in front of Jehovah. Man, I didn't know that was the truth. Nobody told me. I mean, I would have done it. That's what you get from your kids, right? You've heard that one before.
Oh yeah.
But Dad, I didn't know.
I told you not for to drink my drink.
Oh. But when we laughing because it's true, and we look at it, we don't put these things into any kind of perspective because we have to be spiritual. And we have no idea what that means either. That's why most of the people are frustrated and why everybody is walking away from things in my estimation. Because nothing makes sense. There's no purpose. Why do I go to church? That's the man. I gotta get back to church. Why? What do you mean by that? For what purpose? We don't ask any of those questions. Well, it's the spiritual experience. Really? Define spirit. What does that mean? What does spiritual mean? Well, it's deeper meaning to life. Well, what's the meaning of life? I can read you thousands of publications from ministers, from philosophers, from scientists that have no clue what life is.
No.
Still asking the question. I can tell you what life is, but more times than not, we want to ignore that because it doesn't fit the narrative that we want. And that's what's at issue, and that's why we ignore it.
Mm-hmm. And, just to be clear, if you don't know something, I mean, there are things that I don't know because I've never been taught. Maybe
that's not ignorance.
No, that's not ignorance, and that's what I'm trying to say. I don't know anything about trigonometry. If you showed me a, what do they call it? A
trigonometry problem?
Yeah, problem. Or, what they put, it's equation.
Oh, sure.
I couldn't read it, saved my life.
Yeah, but that's different. And equations aren't trigonometry.
Well, I know. I'm just using an example here.
Oh, that's what I'm saying. So even at that.
But here's the thing. I'm not ignorant of it being there.
Right.
I know what trigonometry is. It's a form of math. And I know what the others, they're forms of math. I just don't know how to do it.
Right.
But I'm not ignorant of the fact that it exists.
Right.
I can be ignorant of things that I just want to ignore. That's ignorance. If I deliberately set about and say, well, there's no such thing as trigonometry. I don't know what these people are talking about. Yeah? That's ignorance.
Yeah. Yes.
But to be honest, yes, I do know what it is. I simply don't know how to do it because I never studied it. That's an honest statement.
And honestly, don't want to.
Don't want to. No, I wasn't good at math anyway.
Not my forte. I focus on the things that I believe I'm good at, and that's okay.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh, yeah. It's nothing wrong with that.
Exactly.
Because people have different degrees of abilities.
Yes.
One person, my father-in-law, for instance, he could do an equation in his head. Mm-hmm. He could add up and stuff. You'd give him some numbers, and he'd tell you the answer of them. I don't know how you do that.
And didn't have that big-time education.
No. He was he became an inspector for Southern California Edison Company, and he drew blueprints. He did he worked in all that kind of stuff, and he never went to school for it. But he learned it. He was able to do it. He was smart.
Yes.
Had a good mind.
Intelligent.
Just because you didn't go to school, Abraham Lincoln never went to school. He studied at his house.
Read books.
He read books. But there was no school, no university.
I don't know. I think he might have went to school later in life.
Well, maybe he did, but he didn't go to any university that I know of, as far as the history I've read on it.
I can't remember.
But
we'll fact check.
He lived in a log cabin.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah, and it was in Illinois.
And I think he was originally from Kentucky, if I'm not mistaken.
He might have been, but he lived in Illinois when he was young, and it was not considered a real. It was more like the West. It wasn't as populated, not as progressive as the East Coast yet, and so there wasn't a lot to do there. They hadn't established these things. But he still, was he dumb? No. He was intelligent. And he was able to do it. He wanted to do it, so he did it. You know, today, if you don't...
All self-taught, Dad.
Yeah, he was self-taught.
A little bit from his parents.
Yeah,
early on.
he was self-taught.
There you go.
That's what I thought. I remembered from what I've read about him. But here's the thing. Today, you hear this complaint all the time. I hear it from people that I've worked with and for and stuff. You work for a company, and so you don't have a degree. You know how to do the job. In fact, you're better at it than most that's working there. But when they come time to promote or hire somebody, well, you don't have a degree, so we can't promote you. So we'll hire this guy. And he comes in there and doesn't know his toes from his fingers. Can't do the job. Dumber than a rock. But he's got a degree. But he has no skill. He has no ability to use what he knows.
Right.
He just knows something.
That's a huge thing.
Yes. So why is the person that does know ignored, but the person that's got the degree, they
My father-in-law is a perfect example.
Yep, exactly.
Started at Mobile. His father worked for Mobile back in the day, Southern California. He was digging ditches, driving trucks, boom, boom, boom. He ends up in the corporate offices.
Yeah.
But because he doesn't have a degree, he got passed over for positions that he was more than well qualified for.
Yeah, and
guys
could do.
He had to train to take those positions, and he could do it twice. And now I think he finally, and he was very well respected. He still is. There's still
Yes.
people that call him today.
Yeah, he still is.
And no degree, just able to think, understand, apply what he understood about the job to do it and to do it well.
Well, it's like Jeff Benner, the Hebrew Old Testament and the mechanical translation of the Tanakh and the Torah and so forth. He's been asked because he doesn't have a degree. He admits that.
Not in that. He's
Not
got
in that.
plenty of other degrees.
Yeah, but not in that. And they ask him, well, how come you? Well, he said, it may be this 40 years I've been studying it.
Well, that's the thing, Dad.
Isn't that that's what school is? You study something.
I've spent the better part of the last, 25 years researching, reading, looking at language, understanding, and reading all kinds of different books about these things and coming and helping me. But the one thing that has helped me the most, and in all of this, and this is what we've ignored, is the relationship I have with Jesus. He's the one I talk to the most. And he talks back to me. Guess what? He does. People go, that's weird. No, it's not.
No.
It's what he said. Behold, I stand at the door and knock. If anybody will open the door, I will come in.
Yep.
Well, I did that. I heard him knocking, and I've allowed him to come into relationship with me, and he and me with him. And these are the things. So all the research and all the things, whenever those things come about, then it's a matter of, Lord, what's the foundation here, and what is the basis? And these are the things Dad and I were discussing. What we ignore about things, what we ignore about the truth. We were discussing this right before we came on, and I'll pull this up. Okay. This is an article in Christianity Today. It's called "The Anglican Communion is Coming Apart." Okay? I'm not going to sign in. I'd have to, well, yeah, it's still showing, but the community or the communion in Africa and Asia have finally told the Bishop of Canterbury, who has always been recognized as the first among equals, which is a similar construct to what Orthodox Christianity is, which is different forms. It's Coptic, Greek, Russian, what's some of the others? Armenian, Syrian. There's all these different forms of Orthodox Christianity, and they all have patriarchs, and then there was the first among equals, and that's always been back and forth. So this is what, I didn't know this was like this in the Anglican community. I didn't know the Bishop of Canterbury was the first among equals of these bishops. I didn't know that.
It's almost like a pope. Almost.
Well, it's more in the construct of the Orthodox.
Right.
But they're the first one there, anywho, close. But we don't. They're the spiritual head of the Anglican Communion, a family of 42 churches worldwide that derive from the Church of England. I didn't know there were 42 churches. I thought there was only one. I will give the Catholics credit for that. They don't split it up. It's just one, baby.
Yeah, universal.
Oh, anywho, it's wrong, one, but, nonetheless. But the word church is a terrible translation. Terrible, because the word is ecclesia. Just means call out. That's the basic meaning of the word ecclesia.
Yep,
call out. Oh, well, we are the ecclesia. We're the no, wait. No. It doesn't give you some higher thing or this. No, it just means you were called out of the world. Have you been?
Yep.
And for what purpose? What are we ignoring?
Yeah, the assembly of the saints.
So, but years of strife over same-sex relationships have culminated in last week's statement, raising the possibility that the fraying communion may be disintegrating for good. Okay. So, let's just put this right here on the table. Same-sex marriage. Not to mention, in the statement, Mbanda, who is the head of the African coalition, which is called GAFCON. we got to have acronyms for everything. I get it. I don't understand, man. Anywho, he said, declared that the future has arrived and that GAFCON was making good on its promise from almost 20 years ago to save Anglicanism from theological liberalism. Save Anglicanism. See, what are we talking about? Are we not? There is one Lord, one faith, and one baptism. Well, but we're the true church. No, we're the true. What about Jesus?
How many gospels are they?
Gosh, Pop. The movement began in 2008 when scores of conservative churches, mostly from Africa and Asia, boycotted the once-a-decade Lambeth Conference of Anglican bishops called the Archbishop of Canterbury. Instead, they held their own, of course, had to go to the Holy Land. They went to Jerusalem. At the time, the dispute focused on moves by liberal Anglican churches in the United States and Canada to consecrate gay men and women as bishops and to create liturgies to bless same-sex couples. Then, in 2023, the Mother Church for the whole communion agreed to bless gay relationships. This prompted GAFCON to publicly reject the then Archbishop of Canterbury, Justin Welby's traditional authority as head of the communion. The latest statement appears to go further. Mbanda wrote that GAFCON would reorder the communion, so its sole source of unity was the Bible. The traditional institutions that bind the autonomous Anglican provinces together, including the Archbishop of Canterbury and the Lambeth Conference of Bishops, had failed to uphold traditional teaching and are rejected, the statement added. Okay. On the surface of this, everybody goes, well, of course. And yeah, you look at this, and I would look at the Archbishop of Canterbury and say, what do you do with it's an abomination? Jehovah said that. It's an abomination. Can't get past that. That's from Jehovah himself. It's not mistranslated.
Nope.
Jesus didn't change it.
Nope.
You think I've come to destroy or abolish the law and the prophets. I have not. I have come to fulfill them. Simple. Didn't go anywhere, didn't change. No matter what you want to say, no matter how you want to ignore the truth, it's an abomination. Period. Plain and simple. What do we believe about order? And this is what this gentleman said here. We're going to reorder the communion. So its sole unity was the Bible. Well, what does the Bible say, brother? I don't think anything about Anglicanism. And the foundation of it, what was the foundation of Anglicanism? Well, it was formed in the Protestant movement of the Reformation, protesting the power of the papacy. And all of it came about, and I should say this too, we think, we don't know all of what was going on. Thomas More was a big part of this in that time when King Henry was in power. They gave allegiance to the papal throne, but Thomas More was a Reformationist. There was a big war there. Henry wanted the Pope to annul his marriage to Catherine of Spain. Wouldn't do it because that was simpatico between that. It was all political power and political stuff.
Yep.
And he wouldn't do it. So Henry used the Reformation to get what he wanted, gave power to the Reformation in England, made himself the head of that, divorced his wife, just put her away, which is wrong. Was no reason for it. Then went on to destroy countless women in his quest for an heir. That was his purpose. Is that a godly purpose? Is that the true order of things? Well, we're here to procreate. We're here to fill the earth. Not at the expense of
The death of women.
open rebellion against Jehovah and what he believes about life.
Think about it.
What's our purpose? Why did he do that? And see, translation of the scripture, I don't say interpretation, it's translation. Right. Now, we use translation to manipulate how we want it to be said. I believe that very much.
How we want it to be interpreted.
How we want people to think about it. That's more it than anything.
Yeah.
It's translated it's to manipulate people into thinking in a certain way. This is what they've done. And when you say, in the beginning, the earth was void and without form. And Jehovah says, let there be light. And I always used to think about that. Well, but wait a minute. In the story, in the narrative, the sun and the moon weren't put in place till like day 4. So, 3 or 4, one of those. I can't remember off the top of my head. What does that mean? Light? What do you mean? Well, and there was light. He could see without you don't need the sun. That's not what it says. What he said there was, let there be order. The Hebrew word there is about order. Bringing things into order. Because what covered the earth? Chaos, darkness.
It was void.
It's without form. And darkness covered
The face of the deep.
So, what are we talking about? We do equate light, because we can see, we have the ability, we're not... I never understood it. I understand it now, and why these two terms are used in certain respects. Because Dad and I ventured down into the mountains in southern Mexico. We were in a village down there. The electricity was powered by a car battery. The clouds had moved over. It was a cloudy night. Couldn't see stars or the moon or anything like that. Nothing showing that way. And when they unhooked that battery from the light, friend, it was dark. I was probably what, 21 years old. Yeah, I wasn't much older than that. And I'm like this. I am straining to see my hand, and I couldn't. And I mean, it's like here, I could feel it, and I can't see it. I'm like, I can't see my hand. Well, this is weird. I've never been in that. I've never, ever been in that situation.
I had when I was a kid. Get out in the woods on a cloudy night, be playing or something, and it'd get dark, and you had to really be careful to try to find your way home, because when they say you can't see your hand in front of your face, you can't.
You can't.
No.
You can't. You can't see your hand in front. You can't. That's darkness. And that's where the chaos, because where do you go? You can't see. So I understand the equating of it. Don't get me wrong. That's not. But order. But when you bring order to something, it brings visibility and the sight and the ability to things for be able to walk, move, breathe. All the orderly things that are there, it is equated to light because it brings order.
Order.
The only way you can order, there was no way to order anything or to order myself to do anything in that darkness, because I could not see. And that's the way it was in the earth. So order had to come, and it's an equation to light. But we have to explain these things so that we understand this is out of order. Because what purpose is there in this relationship? See, because the order of things was a male and a female in procreation. Mankind was made male and female. See, the word man it's masculine in that respect, but it doesn't just define male. It also defines female. Mankind is the species. Mankind. The species. And of mankind is male and female. That's what it says. Go read the narrative. Let us make man in our image. And he created man, male and female. That's what it says.
Well, to your point, in the animal world, do we look at a lion and distinguish by calling the female something different? No,
Yeah, they do. They call him a lioness.
Well, yeah, but they don't call
But it's not true. But
no, but they don't say tigeress.
No.
Tigers,
Male and
chimpanzees.
female. But I get your point.
You see what I'm saying?
But they've tried to create that, Dan.
Right. But that's as Brian said, it's a species. Mm-hmm. Yeah, there are male and female, but they're lions.
They're
tigers.
gorillas.
They're gorillas. And yeah, there's male and female, but they're the same species.
just as man is.
Same thing.
And this is the point, we want to make here is we see this here, and this is, the ignorance of this. We ignore the reality of what truth is. I mean, it's, well, yeah, we've got to reject that. Yeah, but then you allow all the other idolatry as well. But the basic order is male and female. What purpose is there in male, male, female, female? What purpose is there? There's no procreation. Doesn't bring any kind of order. So what does it really become? It becomes a desire of your own idea of what you want rather than the truth of what was created to be. And therefore, it's a perversion of truth and outside of the natural order. I know there are people that will not agree with that. You don't have to answer to me. I'm not the one that created us.
No.
That was our Father in heaven. Well, but Brian, God loves everybody. The scripture that we adulterate for this is that, yes, the Lord has shed abroad his love upon all men. Mm-hmm. He did. We understand what the word agape, and this is the word used there. We always, agape love is God's love, but we don't even understand that word. Although I will give the translators of the King James great credit for their translation of this word in the King James Version. It's correct. And you see charity. Because the word agape is about giving. That's that form, as Dad has talked about many times. You brought up in Greek, philo, eros.
Yeah.
There's
Now,
excuse me.
There's 5 to 8 of them.
Yeah, and those are the more philo, eros, and agape. Those three are the prominent ones. And eros was the god of love.
Yep.
It was more. That's where we get the word erotic from.
Yeah.
So we look at these things, but we don't understand them. And this is the terminology that was about giving. And this is why it's translated that way. And they got that right. Because Jehovah has given. For God so gave so much of himself in creating the world that he gave his only begotten Son. What did he give Jesus? He gave back the image and likeness that he set in the first man. Yep. That's what it's saying there, that whole discourse. We misrepresent that whole thing. And if we will understand this and not ignore it any longer, Dad,
yep,
we got to put this stuff away.
Yeah. Well, Pam said this last week. She'd told me about it, and she said it on the air. And maybe even yesterday morning, I don't know. But when a Methodist pastor, she's a woman, stands in the pulpit and says that she doesn't agree with Jesus, she disagreed with Jesus, and she wasn't going to bear any cross. If there had been a prophet there, he would have stood up and said, "The Lord rebuke you," and maybe worse than that. What are you doing in a pulpit? Why don't you throw the Bible away? Forget it. What are you doing? Is it just a position? Is it just a job?
That's what this is.
Yes, just a job, just a position. And the people sit there and listen to this. Not me. What do you got the Bible for? What do you even care? You disagree with Jesus, for Pete's sake. It's beyond, I don't know. It's just absolutely gets so ridiculous that it'd be like a math teacher standing up in front of his class and said, 2 and 2 is not 4, folks. I don't agree with that. I ain't going to do it. I'm not going to put it on the board. Okay, you're a math teacher. Be like a history teacher, get up and saying, well, Christopher Columbus didn't exist. Abraham Lincoln was a myth. These guys, they just weren't there. So really disregard everything they said, because it's just a myth that somebody made up about them, and that's what we're doing in our pulpits. It's exactly what they're doing. They don't care what the Bible says about nothing.
They ignore.
They ignore. Exactly.
This is the point of what we've been talking about the last couple of weeks. The ignorance is, I think, at a massive scale.
It's massive. It's massive.
We've created denominationalism to the nth degree. We run around and we proselyte people to our own ideas of Christianity and faith, being saved, once saved, you're not saved. What liturgy are you using? How do you worship? Do you need a band? Do you not need a band? These are the things we're more concerned about than actually being born again.
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
I didn't even get to this, but there's another one. There's this company called Glue out there. It's getting ready to go public. Thousands of churches as clients. Glue seeks to raise $100 million in IPO to advance human flourishing. Folks, that is outright humanism. That's what humanism was about. Thomas More declared himself a humanist. I'm a humanist. It's about humans, not about Jesus.
Right.
And human is a word we've made up because we don't like to use the word man because it excludes women. No, it doesn't. As we just explained, we'll talk a little bit about this next week. You know, we're a little bit out of time, but I want to bring this to bear. But this is what's happening. I hadn't looked at the publications in a while, Pop, but it's amazing. And we say, are we no longer conformed to the patterns of this world? Not sure. Hope we make you think. Take a look at these things. Questions, comments. We're happy to be here. Conversations, always. Everybody, thanks for tuning in. Always remember to have a fantastic day. Enjoy the word of the Lord. Enjoy the relationship you have with Him. And always remember to give love.
And give life.
And give Jesus.